You briefly mentioned bolting down the rack. Do you remember why you had to bolt down that rack?
Yes.
Oh my God. You know already.
The clip is still on Twitch.
I'm the one who created that clip.
Thank you very much.
So, we're Thousand Faces Cosplay. We're a husband-wife duo. We've been cosplaying for about 10 years and some change, but been performing together for about 15 or so years. And I am Lauren, the wifely half, the gremlin half, and that's Ethan. He has a beard.
I do have a beard. And while we are Thousand Faces Cosplay together, we also have our independent and individual pursuits. Lauren is 95% Lauren.
Sure am.
And I am the buff DM.
Absolutely. For those who are unaware, we met years ago while you guys were at a convention in my hometown of Prince George, British Columbia.
That was a fun con.
I still have your convention banner in my storage room.
No way.
See if you can fit it on a bag when you come to
This is my personal item.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's this.
Ollie Chiefs.
It won't fold up. I refuse to fold it up. Anyway.
A relic.
Yeah. I instantly became a fan of you guys immediately because not only are you charismatic and so just open to just any sort of attention and able to be creative with all your work, cosplay, Ethan, your bodybuilding, Lauren, your modeling. Like, you guys are just everywhere and everything, while at the same time just being an inspiration and true to yourself and everyone around you. So I, again, like, instantly became a fan of you guys.
Well, there's no accounting for taste.
It's true.
And thank you very much. That's so sweet. You say such sweet words
You
with
are
your
allowed
mouth.
to have bad taste.
Yeah, you're allowed to be completely and totally wrong. But I really appreciate you. Honestly, you're just so sweet and so kind, and you were so considerate to us while we were in Prince George. It was our first international convention. I had forgotten an integral piece of my costuming.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
It was my Harley Quinn face mask, and I was freaking out. And you were a calm amongst the storm, and we appreciate you, and thank you for sticking with us through all of the shenanigans and all of these hyperfixations that we have that create whatever Thousand Faces Cosplay and the Buff DM is.
Yeah. Well, the Buff DM is something that's, I think, is really grown over the past couple of years. During it was 2020 to 2021, like, I was avid watcher of your guys' community workout videos in your garage, and like, again, you were answering questions when it came to cosplay. You're answering questions when it came to animal shelter, and you were answering like workout questions, dietitian and nutrition questions. Like, again, you guys are just like well versed in so many different avenues. Do you still have that gym in your garage?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
We still cannot park a car in there.
It's because we got a bigger rack in there, and then we bolted it into the ground. So now no car will go in there. It's nothing but a gym. Honestly, we should pick up just a workout Wednesdays.
Oh, yes. I thought you were talking about getting rid of the gym, and I was like, no, immediately not.
Mine. That's mine. That's for nobody else. It's mine.
I'm down. We can start doing Workout Wednesday streams in the garage gym again. I'm cool with that.
Because you mentioned that we got the opportunity to really talk about the things that we're passionate about and help people in the communities that we love. Like, we love raising money for animal-based shelters and organizations. We love putting our platform to good use by giving people good information, or at least telling them where they can get that good information. Mm-hmm. Because in this digital age, it's really hard to find fact from fiction, and being able to trust somebody is a big piece of how we find information. So thank you.
And
Thank you for
especially on the
sharing more.
fitness side, there are a lot of people who are just trying to sell you their plan and make it seem like they have some unique secret.
Yeah.
And most of the time, for most things, there isn't a secret.
You just gotta do it.
And if you buy their program, it's going to be very similar to a program you could have found for free online.
Yeah.
Oh man,
No.
the amount of glute pump programs out there.
There it is.
And I'm like, oh goodness, honey, that's a BBL. You can't work for what that you. Oh goodness. No, just eat and lift heavy, guys. Just do it with your butt.
Yeah, exactly. You briefly mentioned bolting down the rack. Do you remember why you had to bolt down that rack?
Yes,
You know already.
the clip is still on Twitch.
I'm the one who created that clip.
Thank you very much. Yep, the rack almost fell on me.
Yep, he loaded it up with so much weight, and I was talking to the camera, and then suddenly you just hear the rack tipping.
Wow. Fun. Okay.
Yeah, it's.
I was at the radio station. I was working my day job at that time, and like, oh shit, Ethan's dead.
Hey, if that's how I go, just add some more weight to the bar
I would.
and then call someone.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
got you, babe. 50 pounds on each side, and then call somebody.
The Buff DM. This is a recent development, and it was I don't want to tell the story, but this all sparked from basically you responding to myths and misnomers when it came to D&D and dice play.
Well, I actually just looked it up because you said it's relatively recent. I scrolled back in my TikTok to see when we first started posting D&D content, and it was in 9 days. It'll be 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
That I started posting more D&D and TTRPG content.
Right.
Because I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since I was 12.
Right.
Thanks to my older brother. And Lauren had played a little bit before COVID. We'd had like a campaign that went on for like 10 or 12 sessions. She'd played a few games here and there. But when COVID started, we started a campaign that ended up going 2.5 years. So about 90 sessions in total.
Wow.
We
And
still talk about this session.
It really reignited our passion for it, and so I just started making a few videos on topics, just basic little thoughts, and it very quickly became the dominating factor of our TikTok, so that it got renamed from Thousand Faces to the Buff DM.
Yeah. That's fair.
And the Buff DM came not out of my ego saying buff, it was because I got called Buff Vsauce
And binging with Babish.
and Buff binging with Babish enough times that I was like, I'm just okay, I guess Buff, yeah.
Okay,
but I can't
fine.
say Buff Vsauce as my name.
No.
So it's the glasses and the bald.
Yeah. No, I got it. It's the glasses and the bald, as well as the guns and the pecs and everything else. So
Well, I love Vsauce, but he doesn't have that.
no, he does not. No. Exactly. Yeah. So like D&D is just like it's been a passion for years, and it's like a core. Yeah, I love that. Go buff yourself. It's been like a core tenet of how the two of you connect. Lauren, like your passion and history and feeling with Dungeons and Dragons or dice play.
So my dad grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons, so I grew up hearing about his stories about getting high in the woods and rolling some dice with his friends and telling all these stories. And I had not experienced it growing up. I didn't have a lot of friends or a core group of people I could like experiment with games and stuff with. So it wasn't until I was in college that I was really able to find a group of people that were willing to commit to something like that. And it happened to be Ethan's brother, as well as one of his best friends at the time. And so those were my first DMs. And I had mixed experiences between those two campaigns. And we just never really, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the escapism and the storytelling aspect, but that wasn't necessarily facilitated in one of the campaigns.
Right.
So we didn't play it anymore. And it wasn't until 2020 when COVID hit, and we had this group of friends online that were like, hey, let's do this thing. We've got time, we've got energy, let's go for it. We're living and breathing these stories. It was what got us up in the morning. We were just so excited we were making playlists about our characters, art. It was just all consuming. And from there, I think I'm in six campaigns right now.
Wow.
So I have a lot of people trapped inside my body.
Five campaigns?
Five. Okay, 5.
Yeah, she's in 5.
So that's my experience. And of course, just like all things that I find out that I really like, I became naturally obsessed with it and didn't do anything else. Started consuming nothing but TTRPG content. We're talking books, podcasts. I'm watching the videos on YouTube. Oh man, it was, well,
it's all encompassing.
Well, yeah, and now, it grew from just this home game to eventually I got asked by Misty Mountain Gaming to run a game on their Twitch. Their Twitch eventually had to shut down, so it moved over to our Twitch, and now we have that campaign is still going. We're about to do episode 40. Yeah, the next one is 40.
We're about to be 40.
So that one has been going for a while. There's a second ongoing one, City of the Crimson Tower, on ours. That's every other Tuesday.
Super cool. It's not in the regular D&D system.
It's not D&D, it's Savage Worlds.
It's so cool because we play all these other systems. It's not just D&D.
Right.
It just facilitates a different kind of story, which scratches our performance itch. You know us, a slut for the spotlight.
Oh no. I'm a professional. I'm a professional spotlight whore, so I get it.
Yeah.
And now we're doing, I just did on Monday the second session of what should be a 4-shot with Mothership.
It's going to be way more than that.
Yeah, that second session, they did not get nearly as far as I think they thought they would. So maybe it'll end up being 5. But so there's a lot where, it went from just a personal passion to now in addition to a personal passion, also content creation and working on getting professional DMing set up on like Start Playing Games and things like that. Yeah. So it's been wonderful to have this outlet for our performance scratch, right. A way of scratching that itch, because we met performing at a Renaissance Fair. We love to perform. Performing is what made cosplay appealing, was because we like to perform in character. Yeah. So having everything that we love to do is telling stories
with our friends. Super cool.
Yeah,
like even better.
Getting to tell these organic stories with friends. I truly believe TTRPGs are a primal style of magic. That's something that humans have been doing with each other for millennia, just sitting around telling stories.
Yeah.
And the fact that we can do this and tell these spontaneous stories, it's not easy, but it's easier to make people feel things when you have time to script it out and perfect it and workshop it. But the fact that we can spontaneously tell these stories together that evoke real emotion from players and viewers. I've seen my players legitimately cry. I've seen my players legitimately have, peals of laughter or get angry at these real emotions that can be elicited through this little story and game that we tell. It's just magical to me.
Yeah. For those who are unaware, TTRPG stands for what?
Tabletop role-playing game. And a lot of people will use D&D as shorthand for all tabletop role-playing games, kind of like Kleenex for all tissue paper.
Yeah, or Band-Aids for the adhesive healing. Yeah, exactly.
And I get it. Like, I use the D&D hashtag in posts that aren't about D&D because you gotta, but I also don't want to use it as shorthand for all TTRPGs because there are so many other great TTRPGs out there than just D&D. Mothership that we're running right now, Savage Worlds, Pathfinder, Coyote and Crow. There are so many incredible ones out there that it can be a bit of a necessary evil, but still an evil to have to refer to all TTRPGs as D&D.
I'm going to do something real quick. I don't usually do this. I'm going to step off mic for a quick sec. I'm going to grab something, And I want to show you this because I'm not sure if you're aware of what this specific campaign is about. Hold on.
He's doing stuff. Lauren, he left us unattended.
I know, and he's got a purple chair.
Penis.
Oh!
Oh, that's fun.
Oh!
That's very cool.
So, for those who are listening, it's the official Firefly role-playing game guide. This thing's thick.
Yeah, that thing's...
There's so many good ones out there.
So many. They've got a Witcher one.
Yeah.
Which is wild. Like, come on, man.
Witcher,
There's so
Dune?
many out there. Yeah, there's a Dune one.
Yep. You can play in almost any universe that exists out there. I brought this to what's his name? My God, he played Hey Hey on Moana.
Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, I brought this to Alan Tudyk.
Julia.
And it's weird that I brought that specific reference. But anyway, I brought this to Alan.
But I got it.
I knew you would. And he looked at it and he was just flipping through it for like a good solid 20 minutes. Like, this is so wild. Like, I remember this being a part of the show and blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of cool that there's people out there. Like, of course, this was created by a group of people, but there's people out there who will take the effort to create something that you can be a part of when it comes to TTRPG and D&D type games.
Right. If there's an IP that you enjoy, there is likely a system that will thrive with that IP.
Yeah.
And even if you're playing the exact same system, even if you're running the exact same storyline pre-written, you'll never, ever play the exact same story as another group. And I just think that's so cool.
Yeah, it's true. I have a scenario for you, and this is a personal anecdote. I played around a D&D. It was the 5th edition with a group of people years ago. And I was a paladin because I figured that was the easiest character to jump into, sure. And I had a lot of troubles trying to find a connection with that character, to make that connection unique. Not just me playing as a paladin, but a paladin in that world. And it was deterring. It was frustrating because I felt as though that I wasn't having fun trying to create this character. Instead, I was just kind of pushing this character along in a story. What advice could you give someone if they wanted to jump back in, create a new character, a new campaign, to make it fun and make it more welcoming to embody a character in the universe as opposed to just having someone rolling some dice, marking on a paper?
I can definitely help with this because the way that I do things, I've been in several of Ethan's campaigns, and I have been in Curse of Strahd twice. My first instance with Curse of Strahd is significantly different than my second instance. Not only is the world different, but the way that I created the character was different.
Right.
What I find incredibly helpful to help characters resonate with me, I first of all go in with the understanding that, yes, I'm going to have this rough outline of who this character is, but I am flexible with what happens. Your character will grow fluidly like a person would usually with what comes to them. So be open to that. Don't be so rigid in what your end game is that you forget that you're supposed to be playing in the present and growing with this character. Second, what I usually use to inform who my character is I kind of take and Frankenstein characters from pop culture together. Like, for instance, my first Curse of Strahd character, I was like, I want a character that's like Kate Beckinsale's character in Van Helsing. Perfect for me. So I already from there, I'm like, I want someone with a noble background who has a little bit of fighting expertise, who conducts herself fluidly, who is confident and sure of herself. And so I used that as my basis for my character. And then as things from the world started happening to her, I could react that way. And it just Frankensteined into Gianna, my character.
Right.
So I say pick somebody you know and you like. Hell, you like Harley Quinn and you want a Brooklyn accent. That's right, homie. Give me the quest. I mean, take what you know and what you love.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with using a pop culture or pre-existing character as a point of reference.
Right.
Players have been doing that for decades. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons came around because people wanted to tell their own Lord of the Rings stories. And you look at the OG classes in like the first edition, like dwarf was a class.
Right.
Elf was a class. Ranger. I wonder who the ranger is supposed to be in Lord of the Rings. Oh, yeah. Like it was all just like to the point that Dungeons and Dragons got sued by the Tolkien estate, and they couldn't use Hobbit, and they had to change it to Halfling. They couldn't use Ent, they had to change it to Treant. They couldn't use Balrog, they changed it to Baelor. Because that's what they initially were, because it was just to tell these archetypal classic heroes' journeys that we all have consumed and loved and wanted to be a part of in some way. So there's nothing wrong with starting with the base of a character that already exists, but like Lauren said, that character that you're playing is not going to go through the same experiences as the pop culture one. So they will, 100 sessions in, probably not even be if you allow them to grow, not even be recognizable to the original source material. Right. But
additionally, you have your group too. It is collaborative storytelling, so you're not just creating your character on your own. You're creating these backstories, these experiences with the other players that are there, and their decisions, the way that they conduct themselves with your character, will inform that character as well. So, like I said, that flexibility.
Mm-hmm. And I did want to say, because you brought up the question of like, how do you feel more comfortable embodying this character?
Yeah.
One thing I do want to say to people is you don't have to. And I think that all of these incredible actual plays have done amazing amounts of good for the hobby. But I think they've also created for some people an expectation or a thought that that style of play, like Critical Role, Dimension 20, whatever it may be, where it's the players are very immersed, they are embodying their characters, and a lot of viewers who've maybe that's their only exposure might think that is the only way to play, and if I'm not doing it that way, or my table isn't doing it that way, something is wrong, we're not doing it right. But no, you can. One thing I advocate for people who are uncomfortable or a little nervous about the embodiment, but they want to, is instead of trying to jump into first-person specific narration, use third-person, more generalized narration. So an example, a first-person specific would be like, I walk up to the bartender and say, "Hello there, you look like a strapping lad. Why don't you go ahead and slap down some whiskey on the bar?" Where a third-person generalized might be, my character walks up to the bar, gives the bartender a compliment, and asks for a drink in a growly voice. Exact same information was communicated.
Right.
That was relevant. And yet that's so much easier for someone. They don't have to put themselves out there, say I, which can be scary. Doing voices, which again is not necessary, can be very intimidating. There's nothing wrong with the second example I gave.
Right.
But it's not what you see on a lot of actual plays. So I think people forget that it's even a possibility and a legitimately totally fine one.
It's inspiring, like to use the work that you guys have done with some of your friends and other enthusiasts for TTRPG, as well as like
enthusiast is such a kind for what
all right,
we are.
Psychopaths.
Yay!
Sally Quinn included, but it's intimidating to watch the likes of what you work with, as well as Critical Role, Matt Mercer, and see all these incredible performances. But it's one thing to consider when you're doing that, take a step back and realize these are performers. They've been at this for years.
So this is commonly known in the community as the Matt Mercer effect.
Yes.
And that poor bastard being labeled stuck with that
Poor
label
thing.
for something he never wanted.
Yeah.
No.
He never, and none of them would ever want anyone to feel any type of pressure or scared to do it because of what they've done.
Right.
Not at all. But the Matt Mercer effect, the concept that these actual plays have created this expectation from players or DMs or both or whatever. And it's true. Some people have come away from watching actual plays and had these unrealistic expectations. But I compare it to, because like you mentioned, they're professionals. I compare it to watching LeBron James.
Okay.
And watching LeBron James, knowing you have a pickup game later that day, and either expecting yourself or your teammates to perform at LeBron James level, and if they don't, they're doing something wrong. No. No. Anyone who came to a pickup game and was like, Steve, you suck. You're not. LeBron would have made that shot. Well, fuck yeah, he would have.
You're right.
Of course he would have.
Because that's LeBron James.
It's LeBron goddamn James. You know? And for some reason, we watch professionals do things all the time, and it doesn't intimidate us, or we don't criticize them for creating overly high expectations. How many of us have watched Gordon Ramsay cook? And yet, we aren't sitting there going, Gordon Ramsay has created false expectations for my home chef to be. And yet, like, no! Like, I don't expect that the steak that I'm getting served at my home dinner is going to be a Gordon Ramsay steak. I'm happy if it is.
Yeah.
But, no, it's a very weird thing that expectation has been created, and maybe it's because of exposure. We're exposed to other people cooking other than just Gordon Ramsay, but it's possible that the only exposure that people have had to D&D is Matt Mercer as DM, is Laura Bailey and Travis Willingham as players. And if you've only seen that one, then you don't have anything to compare it to, and you might think that is just standard. Like, if you never had food, I guess, and all you ever saw was Gordon Ramsay cooking, and then you are cooked your first meal, I think, so maybe that's why there's a bit of a disconnect there.
I get it. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I trying to picture the scenario of someone just obsessed with Gordon Ramsay going to the kitchen and making KD and lunch meat and just being like, this is not adequate.
Yeah, I mean, and anyone who showed up to your house when you cooked a meal and was like, Gordon Ramsay would have done it this way. Like, get the fuck out. For real, I just cooked you a meal. Like, and it's the same thing. You shouldn't. Don't expect your DM to be Matt Mercer, because they aren't Matt Mercer. They are themselves.
Yes.
Maybe they're better. Who knows? They're home. It's kind of like I know jazz musicians who will never get a single album deal who are way better musicians than a lot of people who are in the top 40 right now. Yeah. So it's very possible that your home DM might be better than the professionals, but they're professionals.
Yes.
Yep.
They have that platform, and so that makes them more visible, which also makes them more intimidating. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, take it at what it is, right? Like, if you go to the kitchen and you burn your first batch of chocolate chip cookies, so what? You'll learn from that and move on for the second one and third one and fourth one, and eventually you'll get better. If your first character was not fun, so what? Move on. Learn from it. Make it more fun next time. Learn from your mistakes. Absolutely.
We're all always making mistakes. Literally this Monday, while I was running the game, I was speaking as an NPC, and I started to say something, and I cut myself off halfway, and I went, nope, they wouldn't know that. That was me metagaming. Never mind. Like, we all still slip up. It happens. Yeah. Just learn from it. And I think that if we look at these performers, these professionals, as professionals, and if we were to treat their performance in a similar way to how we treat Gordon Ramsay or LeBron James, it's an inspiration. Someone who's obsessed with basketball isn't going to quit playing basketball because LeBron James is better than them or better than their teammates. Yeah. They're going to use LeBron James and he worked hard and trained every day. What was his regimen? How long has he been doing this? I'm going to do it too. I'm going to watch his tapes. I'm going to learn. watching Gordon Ramsay cook recipes. Oh, look, that was a great tip. See how he did that? I should start doing that when I'm cooking steaks. That's a great idea. Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean just because the professionals do it that it's good.
Yeah.
There are things that, I've certainly heard opinions from great British bake-off judges that I disagree with. Like, that chocolate cake has too much sugar. What is wrong? This is smack. I know you're in the UK, but we're in America.
How dare you?
We enjoy flavor, for fuck's sakes.
We have a problem.
You can learn from professionals, both in terms of I like what they did,
Yeah.
I don't like what they did,
Yeah.
but why not think of them more that way instead of they're ruining the hobby because I can't be that? Do you want to be? And if you do, why not try?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, absolutely incredible advice. Without question. Speaking of professionals, I'm going to switch gears here, Lauren. I had no idea, and I'm sure I shared this thought or this revelation when I met you guys in person. I had no idea that your modeling went to the extent of nudity, artistic, exotic, and then erotic. Your 95% Lauren content has grown in style and in fashion and in creativity over the past couple of years, which congratulations. I commend you wholeheartedly for it. That is amazing. That's a tribute to your comfort level, your physique, and how you see yourself, as well as how you present yourself, as well as the people that you work around. The photographers, your own creative eye is just amazing. So had I known even back then, it wouldn't have changed how much of a fan I am of you guys. It just amazing, the type of stuff that you do.
You're making Lauren cry.
I'm sorry.
I mean, that isn't a hard task.
No, I mean, like...
not to discredit your kind words, but like, I've shown her pictures of a small frog.
It means a lot to hear, because coming from a more traditional cosplay background, sets the stage for this wholesome content. And while I was creating OnlyFans content at that point in time, I wasn't exactly proud to be outspoken about it, because there was lots of judgment, and people just make assumptions about a person when they see that they're comfortable in their own skin or trying to be comfortable in their own skin. And when I started the OnlyFans, it definitely was more of an attempt for me to learn how to love myself. I come with a lot of trauma. I come with a lot of past experiences that have tainted my view of myself and my view of relationships and other people. And I needed to correct that. And OnlyFans was my way to do that. And everyone there was so kind and considerate and respectful. Like, you wouldn't think that that would be a place of respect, but I get more respect on OnlyFans than I get on Instagram. And
that's so true.
It is. It's been an interesting journey learning that I don't have to fit in a box, that I can be a multifaceted creator with several layers. Like, I genuinely love to handcraft. I have my level 10 ferns sitting out from Critical Role, sitting out in the garage, handcrafted, hand sculpted, sewn, dyed, everything. But then I like to throw on a bodysuit and shove my butt a little bit, or whip out my boobies, or provide additional content that genuinely makes people feel happy. I thank you. I genuinely do love to create in all forms of the word. And it's nice to know that it's received in a positive way.
It takes a long time for a lot of people in the adult world. We'll just blanket it as the adult world, the adult creative world. It takes a long time for a honest to goodness, supportive community that is both appreciative, a fan, to have that sort of atmosphere, to have that sort of support, but yet, like, not without bumps in the road. this type of support and fandom and, dare I say, community again, that is behind what you do is inspiring, because everyone is pretty much a fan, hold each other accountable, are honest, while at the same time very supportive. And
because they know I'll blast them in my stories if they act up.
No,
they know Mama bring down a hammer. I'm sorry, you don't get to talk to Mama like that. You say thank you. May I have another?
Exactly. While at this very same time, the moment you release more content from a different cosplay idea, a different scenario, again, it's just surprising, imaginative, as well as just like uniquely you and your eye, which is like no small feat. And I know Ethan, like, you are a part of this behind the scenes, clearly.
So, yeah, absolutely. And I get asked literally at the last convention we were at, because as we've gotten more comfortable with things like, showing the modeling side of things at cons, when she was there rocking Elvira and there were, sexy prints on the table and all that. There was this teenage boy, I remember, who, when I say teenage, I mean 19, legal, who was very enthralled with Lauren. And he just asked me at one point, he was like, wait, so that's your wife? You're okay with this? And I was like, I'm way more than okay with this. This is, absolutely.
I'm involved.
I don't have a jealous bone in my body.
Who do you think makes the thirstiest reels? It's this guy right here. It ain't me, babies.
Yes.
Illusion.
Who do you think's holding the camera when it's moving?
Who do you think?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's kind of it too. Like I've had the pleasure over the years to, and still to this day, like talk to people who work in the higher hierarchy of the professional adult world, and they go through the same struggles, and they go through the same, like, questioning themselves, and bad days and good days. But it's about the community, and it's about who you have in your inner circle that really makes it all worthwhile. It really does. Like, it doesn't matter what level you create content and what level your platform is. The struggles are universal from start to finish, and the judgment comes from all angles, which is unfortunate.
And it is. And it's one of those things that if you want to be a creator, you have to develop a thick skin, which I don't have, and I have not developed. So as someone who has not followed my own advice,
your skin is thicker than it was.
It's thicker than it was. Yeah. But when you're trying to create authentically, you genuinely have to think, am I doing this for me? And am I happy with this content? Am I okay with it? Am I being genuinely myself, or am I being the character I created for online consumption?
Yeah.
And it's constantly a war between numbers and comparison and what fads in the content creation, or what trends are important, or what sounds are trending, or anything like that. But overall, like, if you're creating authentically, that's what people want.
Yeah.
I could do the most high profile costume ever, but if I don't look like I'm having fun, people don't care. Like my Vampirella, for instance. I just finally did a Vampirella shoot that I'm excited about. It was beautiful. It was perfect. Everything I wanted. I created a 5-foot coffin out of a couch box. I was like, I'm going to do this.
Right.
And when I launched that, I had previously shot it, and I did this video called Goth Turtle, and it was just a behind the scenes where I was moving my 5-foot coffin, and I put it on my back, and so I was being a gremlin, and I just go, Goth Turtle. And now anytime I post Vampirella, I have people messaging me, Goth Turtle, laughing emoji. Goth Turtle, Goth Turtle. So my Vampirella is popular because I allowed myself to be myself and be genuine and create something that maybe isn't what I would think people would want as a finished product, but something that they enjoy and can relate to.
Hey, what do you mean? Your current your most recent shoot is absolutely what.
No,
people
I meant
want.
the Goth Turtle.
Oh
video.
yeah. Well, but honestly, and what you were saying with the messages there really brings up one of the constant struggles that I think online creators have to war with, and that is, do you create a community or do you create numbers? Yeah. And you can create content that will get you a huge amount of followers with no real community. They don't really give a damn about who you are.
Yeah.
Or you can create content that actually fosters a real community, and sometimes those two overlap. You know, there are examples of people who have huge followings and are their authentic selves, and people love them for who they are. I think Jessica Nigri is a great example of that. She's very much herself. But that is...
And she's actually genuinely a sweet and caring and considerate community member. So, love that.
But I did want to touch on something you brought up before about like the judgment that people have when they are sex workers, or they do, and not even just sex workers, anything sexy, especially women.
Yeah.
And Lauren has dealt with this, and our friend Tabitha Lyons, I think, is a great example, because she does sexy content, but she and her dad are legitimately some of the best prop makers out there. They have made, I think by their tally, they said like over 1,000 just swords, and each one of them unique.
Oh.
They've done prop work for film, for all this huge builds. But as soon as she started doing sexy content, that's the only thing she is known for, even though she is an incredible prop maker.
And we even talked about it together at dinner one night, where we were talking about having, like, I had to open the separate account, the modeling account, because I wanted to do more sexy stuff. But there was judgment on the Thousand Faces account, because the moment you start to change something and step outside of a box that previously people can put you in, it becomes uncomfortable for them, and they need to vocalize that. You lose followers, you lose traction, it hurts your business. But we were talking about how it's unfortunate how she has these big, beautiful costumes that she worked, like full suits. You can't even tell she's in it. And it'll get a small amount of likes, whereas a lingerie picture, that's all people want.
Yeah.
And it's these multifaceted creators are really wanting to be seen as multifaceted creators. Like, I'm not just a sex worker. I'm a idiot performer. I am a maniacal crazy person. I am an immersive cosplayer. I am a costume designer. I am a professional model. I am all of these things. I'm also a fur mom. I'm also a daughter. I'm also a wife, a friend. It's a lot of people forget that there are people behind the accounts that they follow. Yeah. And it's cool that we've created a community that is open to being a safe space, and will push out or call out anyone who doesn't fit that narrative of comfort and kindness. It's pretty cool.
You have the Vampirella content coming out, if it hasn't already by the time this episode is released. Oh, yeah. Bucket list projects in the future. I dare to think that there is going to be another full body paint project between you and Sally Quinn in the near future.
Next week. So she has, just so everyone knows, Sally Quinn Creations is my best friend of all time in real life and on screen. And she has just this year, as of 2 months ago, officially taken on art as her full-time job. That's what she went to college for. That's what her dream has been her whole life. She was working for a corporation for over 10 years, but she was still doing body paint transformations on Twitch. You can follow her there, and
incredible
on Instagram.
Work. My God.
Incredible. And her canvas work is truly stunning. She loves to work with UV paints and kind of push the envelope of what a creator really is. And she has got a lot on the horizon for herself, but she and I are taking a little cabin retreat. No boys are down. And we're gonna go up to the woods and do some creation together, and plan things in the future, and hopefully be able to take weeks off where we can just go and create together and do collaborations and stream it on Twitch. But definitely anything she does for me, she painted me as Maya from Borderlands 2, which was one of my ultimate dreams. And if I told her what my bucket list cosplay was, she'd be on it in a heartbeat right now.
Yeah.
It's Kosh
Ooh.
from Babylon 5.
Wow. That'd be amazing.
That is from first Kosh, not other Kosh.
Yeah. No, I got it.
First Kosh is my ultimate. And if you guys look up what that is, you're going to be like, wait, but what about the boobies? No boobies. Kosh and Kosh alone.
Yeah.
I want to be a Vorlon. That's my dream cosplay, along with Baird from Gears of War.
Oh, wow.
Both gentlemen.
Oh, wow. That'd be cool. That'd be cool to see. Ethan, what do you have on the horizon for the Buff DM or other ventures?
Continuing to grow and do a lot more actual plays. The podcast aspect is actually rather new, so I think it's actually only within the last 4 or 5 months that I've really started that up. So that's the future of it, and continuing to do these great actual plays with our friends and more one-shots, continuing ongoing campaigns, opening up for some hired opportunities for those who want to play in a campaign on like start playing games. But we've been working with a lot more conventions to also bring live stage games to a lot of cons, so that's been fun. It's a very different challenge to have to run a stage one-shot in 90 minutes.
Ooh.
That's really fast.
Yeah.
Wild. But you kept everybody's attention.
Hey, we make it happen.
Absolutely.
But that's continuing to, make it sound better, get more and more people on there, continuing to grow, show the more representation in the TTRPG community. So it's not just us white dudes who play it.
We do have we do have women and people of color, my friends.
In fact, I think the majority of my players are actually women in most of my games.
Yeah, well, that's probably a little bit
problematic. Look, you are in most of them, but that's just one. You are not the majority.
I do skew the statistics, my guy. That's Bodhi.
But just continuing to tell these stories, and keep, honing the art. And I am honored to be able to be a backdrop that allows my friends and these incredible people to tell these great stories.
Absolutely. I'm gonna start wrapping up here, but when I say goodbye, don't hang up the call, okay? A question I've been asking all my guests this year, and it's been kind of fun because I talk to people on a professional level in their industry, and to go back to see where they started in any profession is kind of wild. So the question I've asked everyone this year is, what was your first paying job?
I worked the Culver's drive-thru in my hometown for 5 straight years, 40 hours a week.
Wow.
While I was going to high school as well as community college. But I was employed there for 5 years, running that drive-thru, slinging those custards.
That's cool. It must have been something. 5 years
humbling.
Is a long time.
It was humbling as shit. So it was wicked. Man, you gotta... People who haven't worked in the service industry do not understand people. So do it, and you will know a lot more.
Ethan?
I mean, my first paying job was as a busboy at my dad's restaurant. But not counting family jobs. My first one was working at Spirit Halloween.
Oh, really?
Yep. Spirit cool. Halloween, I got to spend a lot of time right on the street in a weird costume waving a sign.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I couldn't imagine. That not only is that monotonous, that's hard.
And back in the days of MP3 players for it,
Oh, yeah.
I was just out there rocking the Coheed and Cambria the whole time.
Right. Is the Zune even a thing?
I did have
anymore?
a Zune. No, Zunes MP3 players are pretty much not things.
Oh, yeah, I kind of figured, but pretend I didn't ask that. I want to look younger than I am.
That's fine.
Listening to my Walkman.
Yeah, you get that. You get one. Give me my 8-track player.
Where can people find you on social media? Your collaborative work as well as your independent accounts.
So you can find us just about anywhere on the internet as 1,000 Faces Cosplay or 1,000 Faces TTRPG in the Twitch space. You can also find me modeling if you like pogs and you like big old booty shaking in your face. It's 95% Lauren, 95% Lauren at Instagram as well as Twitter. I can also be found on OnlyFans at onlyfans.com/Lauren Modeling. And pretty much just about anywhere Ethan's trying to do something serious, I'm trying to undermine it. So you can find me there too.
Ethan.
More or less. In addition to 1,000 Faces Cosplay, you can find me on TikTok. It is either 1,000 Faces will bring it up or the Buff DM. And if you want to listen to our podcast, it is Go Buff Yourself, and you can find that on pretty much anywhere you can get podcasts now, Spotify, iHeart, Apple, all that.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, like any events coming up in the near future that you want your fans or anyone else to know about before we...
We'll be in Columbus.
GalaxyCon Columbus in December.
First week of December, we will be at GalaxyCon Columbus, and we will be running another stage game there. So if you want to come hang out, see it's good sightseeing and people watching at a con if you've never been. But we'll be running a D&D game there. It'll be a lot of fun, so come check that out.
Bring money. Because there's lots of stuff to buy. So many
I was about to say, I was like, damn, Lauren.
Not for me!
Bring money. Bring money. We'll be there.
You're a vessel for my finances. No, just if you like stuff in your fandoms, lots of people are creating unique pieces for your individual fandoms. I noticed that at the last con. Lots of cool creators out there are making stuff with their hands. Yeah. So get out there and support them.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, you guys. I know we went a little bit over, but I really do appreciate the time to just chat, shoot the shit, and get caught up.
I also wrote out your itinerary for your Denver visit.
Oh, thank you.
Just kidding, not the full itinerary, just the options for hotels.
Whatever, it's done for me. I don't have to worry about it.
You're like, fuck yeah, copy paste. Hey, babe, what about this? I did some research.
It's perfect. Thank you. Thanks for making it to the end of this episode. Big thank you to you for watching or for listening or for checking out my website, TheMediajack.ca. There is where you can find other episodes, other content that I create, as well a link to the Patreon where you can support my show, all my work directly. Also, where you could submit ideas, suggestions, or maybe you want to ask a future guest a question. Patreon is where you can go for all of that and so much more, and also get a shout out just like Red Wolf Dawn, our executive producer for this month. Big thank you to you once again, and check out TheMediajack.ca. The merch is there. You can get a really comfortable shirt like this supporting the Media Jack or my partner, the Iron Bikini. Or maybe you just want to get yourself a good mug or a gym shirt or something else that tickles your fancy. TheMediajack.ca. Take care.